What is going on, guys? My name is Brian with Dogwood Custom Builds. This video I paired up with Rockler Woodworking to grab the Excelsior Mini Lathe and a bunch of little extra tools to get into turning. So this was my first time turning and really my first time using a lathe, but I did want to get the extension here. So this wing adds about 18 to 20 inches to your turning length. Here I'm installing it. It's a couple quick hex bolts, and then you just simply line up the holes, and you just line up the holes together and re-bolt them in, which I'm going to make look way harder than it really is. So if you lock the tailstock over the wing and the standard part of the lathe, it's a little easier to hold up that bed extension and get those bolts nice and tight. And here we are. Not a lot of room to wiggle around in there, but it is fairly simple to install. A couple of little rubber feet that go on the bottom. They also have little screw-in rubber feet for the extension. Again, this lathe came pretty much ready right out of the box. So if you want to get into turning, this is a great one to just pull out and just start going. I took off the standard 4-inch tool rest in lieu of a 10-inch from Rockler. Gives you a little more room on those longer items to work on, like table legs or like rolling pins. Neither of which I did in this video, but it is useful. I got an aftermarket chuck on there because Rockler doesn't make their own chuck. So now we get to the turning. I mark center, I hammer it through, and then we start getting it lined up. This is some bloodwood, maple, and walnut. Rockler also has a bunch of fun different types of turning hardware that you can get from their website. Here I'm turning a beer or soda bottle opener. So this really was my first time ever turning, and I didn't know what kind of tools to use, but I used the pointed diamond-shaped piece to get the initial material removal, going from a square shape down to a rounded shape first. Then I switched over to the round carbide bit and started to kind of shape and smooth it the way I wanted to. Again, I really didn't have a plan on what I wanted it to look like. I just kind of would shape it, feel it, shape it, feel it, and kind of work it towards what I wanted the bottle opener to look like. I start sanding at 80 grit all the way up to 500. Here you're going to see again 80. This is 120. And I believe just 150 I stopped. I spared you the additional time watching. But again, I do go up to about 500. So this is my process for getting the bottle opener off the lathe since I used the chuck. I just kind of got it down as far as I could. I'm about to sand it here, and you're going to see why in just a second. So while it's on the lathe still, I'm going to drill out that center, which is going to hold the actual bottle opener hardware itself. And you can also see me get the lathe chuck, the drill chuck stuck in there because I'm not paying attention to what I'm doing. So I used Mercury Adhesives Thin Flex CA glue. While it's on the lathe, it dries very quickly. So I do 12 coats of this. I get 3 coats per paper towel, and I use 4 paper towels. And then in between paper towels, I will sand 500 grit. And I'll never do this again. So I just took the saw and started ripping and rolling through it. Horrible, didn't cut evenly. I really wish I would have just looked up better ways to do that. But again, I got it done, and that's that. I applied some finish on there off camera. These are little 2-inch micro mesh sanding blocks. You get them wet and just simply buff off or buff up that CA glue. I buff up to 8,000, but I only showed you the first grit again, just to spare you the time watching me sanding. This is the threaded insert for the bottle opener. Clearly, I drilled a hole that was too small. It was super tight, so I took it out. I used the drill, tried to hollow that hole out a little more to get that threaded insert in. However, I was still unsuccessful. I had to drill it out a little bit more. It was honestly, I used the complete wrong drill bit for this. And sorry, the camera angle is kind of rough. Finally, after enough grunting and hurting my hands on this Allen wrench, we got it locked in, sealed, bottle opener in, good to go. So this is my workbench where I have the lathe. Right now the garage door is open. Really nice to turn with that airflow. I'm drilling some holes to store all of my turning tools, chuck tools, all that stuff so I can have quick access to it. There you go, 1, 2, 3, and then my chuck tools. You'd also notice here that I took off the bed extension since I didn't think I was going to need it anytime soon. And here is just so I grab the right one. I can do a quick reference, grab them, and we're good to go. So I also learned through personal experience and YouTube that the dust collection aspect is not very good on the lathe. No matter how hard you try, it's more of a cleanup as opposed to a mid-turning benefit. But here I'm turning another piece on here. You'll see me do a few things differently. One, use the right size drill bit. Two, not get the drill bit stuck. Three, dismount the piece a little better. I think dismount's the word I'm going to start using from now. But again, it's the same piece of wood, same chunk, just a little different final result that you're going to see here. See, I narrowed it down as much further, and then I just simply cut off that little nub. Still not perfect, but we're getting better. Get a little more CA glue in that hole, and a little easier for me to muscle that one on there to make that pizza peel. And what better combo than a nice home cooked pizza and a beer? Again, Rockler was super helpful getting all this stuff to me. They make incredible turning tools, turning accessories, all that kind of fun stuff. Go check out their website. Everything that I used from Rockler is going to be in the video description. Please check it out. Follow, like, subscribe, leave your comment. I'd love to hear more from y'all. Thank you so much.